The gleaming headquarters of Horizon Technologies stood like a monument to innovation in the heart of Silicon Valley. Inside the 50-story glass tower, executives in tailored suits nervously awaited the board meeting that could determine the company's future. The struggling tech giant had 3 months before their revolutionary quantum computing project would either save them or sink them completely. Miranda Chon, Horizon's head of talent, paced outside the conference room. She had vetted dozens of candidates for the position of Chief Innovation Officer, Harvard PhDs, MIT prodigies, industry veterans with impeccable credentials. The board would review her final selections today. The elevator doors opened, and Miranda's attention was drawn to a woman who stepped out. In stark contrast to the corporate environment, she wore a simple linen dress and carried a worn leather messenger bag. Most strikingly, she was completely barefoot, her toes adorned with delicate silver rings. "Excuse me," Miranda approached. The main entrance requires visitors to check in." The woman smiled. "I'm here for the board meeting." "Cassidy Evans." Miranda checked her tablet. "You're not on my list of candidates or guests." "No, I wouldn't be," Cassidy replied calmly. "But Alexander Reeves is expecting me." Miranda's breath caught. Alexander Reeves was Horizon's enigmatic CEO, a brilliant visionary who had built the company from nothing, but rarely appeared in person anymore. He conducted most business remotely from his cliffside mansion. "Mr. Reeves is attending virtually today," Miranda explained, gesturing to the conference room where a large screen waited. "He doesn't take unscheduled meetings." As if on cue, the private elevator, the one only Reeves was authorized to use, opened. A security guard stepped out. "Ms. Evans?" he called. "Mr. Reeves asked me to escort you up." Miranda watched in disbelief as the barefoot woman followed the guard into the executive elevator. Who was this woman that warranted such special treatment? From the reclusive CEO? Inside the boardroom, 12 executives fell silent as the barefoot woman entered. Their shocked expressions reflected what they were all thinking. Who let this bohemian into our sanctuary of power? The large screen flickered to life, revealing Alexander Reeves, his steel-gray eyes intense beneath a shock of dark hair streaked with silver. At 45, he maintained the commanding presence that had made him a legend. "Ladies and gentlemen," his deep voice filled the room. "Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Cassidy Evans." The barefoot woman took a seat at the table, seemingly unfazed by the scrutiny. "Ms. Evans will be joining Horizon effective immediately," Reeves continued. "She'll be leading our quantum computing division." The room erupted in murmurs of shock and outrage. The board members exchanged glances of disbelief. Miranda felt the floor shift beneath her feet. 3 months of meticulous recruitment dismissed. In seconds, Cassidy sat silently, her green eyes observant as the chaos swirled around her. She didn't defend herself or offer explanations. She simply waited, barefoot and calm, while Silicon Valley's elite questioned their CEO's sanity. No one noticed the subtle smile that played across Alexander Reeves' lips as he watched her through the screen. News of the barefoot genius spread through Horizon Technologies like wildfire. Employees crowded near Lab 7, hoping to glimpse the woman who had bypassed all conventional hiring protocols. Inside, Cassidy Evans worked in solitude, requesting only a whiteboard, quantum computing schematics, and access to the company's failed prototypes. Dr. Ethan Blackwood, Horizon's former head of quantum research, was livid. After 2 years leading the project into a dead end, he'd been sidelined for someone who looked like she belonged at a music festival, not a tech company. He stormed into Miranda Chon's office. "This is absurd," he fumed. "I've reviewed every database. This woman has no degree, no publications, no digital footprint whatsoever. She's a ghost," Miranda sighed. "Trust me, I've tried to understand it myself." But Reeves was clear she has complete autonomy. She's barefoot in a laboratory. It violates every safety protocol. Down in Lab 7, Cassidy worked in a state of flow, undisturbed by the controversy surrounding her. The quantum computing challenge that had stumped Horizon's best minds for years revealed itself to her like a familiar melody. Her fingers danced across the whiteboard, filling it with equations that seemed to defy conventional physics. On the third day, she requested unusual materials: rose quartz crystals, copper wire, and a specific grade of silicon that Horizon had. Deemed useless months ago, that by the end of the first week, security footage from Lab 7 showed Cassidy working through the night, barefoot, occasionally pausing to press her toes against the cool laboratory floor as if drawing energy from the earth. Itself in his coastal mansion, Alexander Reeves watched the footage in private, his expression unreadable. His assistant entered with his evening medication. "She's still using the same methods," he observed quietly. "Sir?" his assistant inquired. "Nothing," he replied, swallowing his pills. "Schedule a private visit to Lab 7 tomorrow night." No announcement. At midnight, when most employees had gone home, Alexander Reeves entered Horizon headquarters for the first time in months. His security detail kept a respectful distance as he made his way to Lab 7. Through the glass door, he saw her illuminated by the glow of monitors, barefoot, working with an intensity he recognized all too well. For a moment, he simply watched, transported back 15 years to a different time, a different place. When he entered, Cassidy didn't look up immediately. "The oscillation pattern is beautiful," she said, as if continuing a conversation they'd been having all along. "Your team was looking at it backward." Alexander approached the workstation. "Show me." Their hands nearly touched as she guided him through her discovery. The proximity sent an electric current through the room that had nothing to do with the quantum prototype humming on the table. "You haven't changed," he said softly. She finally looked at him, green eyes meeting gray. "Neither have you, Alex." In that moment, the air between them collapsed 15 years of separation into nothing. Whatever had happened between the CEO and this barefoot genius was clearly unfinished business, a secret powerful enough to shake the foundations of Silicon Valley. By the third week, Cassidy Evans had become Silicon Valley's most intriguing mystery. Tech blogs speculated wildly about her identity. Horizon's stock rose 5% on rumors that their quantum computing project was back on track. Inside the company, employees divided into factions, those who resented the outsider and those who had become true believers after witnessing her work. Miranda Chun found herself increasingly drawn into Cassidy's orbit. Initially skeptical, she'd begun bringing coffee to Lab 7 each morning, seeking brief moments of conversation with the enigmatic woman. "People are talking," Miranda said one morning, setting down 2 cups. "They're saying Alexander Reeves built his first quantum algorithm based on your work." Cassidy smiled. "People love stories, especially ones with barefoot women and powerful men." "Is it true?" Miranda pressed. Cassidy's focus returned to her equations. "What's true is that I need access to the particle accelerator at Stanford for the next phase." That afternoon, Miranda overheard Ethan Blackwood in heated conversation with 2 board members. "She's manipulating Reeves," he insisted. "I've hired a private investigator. Whatever hold she has on him, I'll find it." Later that evening, Alexander's private jet landed at San Francisco International. His driver delivered him not to his mansion, but to a small beachfront cottage in Half Moon Bay. Inside, Cassidy sat cross-legged on a warm sofa, surrounded by notebooks. "The board is getting nervous," he said, removing his expensive suit jacket. "Ethan is digging." "Let him," she replied. "The quantum processor will be ready in 4 weeks." Alexander poured 2 glasses of Bordeaux from a $5,000 bottle. "That's not what I'm worried about." As the Pacific waves crashed outside, they sat together in the dim light. To an observer, they might have appeared as lovers, but their connection seemed to transcend simple romance. 15 years ago, Alexander began, I was working out of a garage in Palo Alto, sleeping on a futon, eating ramen. And I was living in a commune, studying theoretical physics on borrowed university computers, she added. He leaned forward. You were the only one who understood what I was trying to build. Not just the technology, but the vision. And you were the only one who didn't think I was crazy for believing quantum computing could have consciousness, she replied. Their hands met over the coffee table. For a moment, Silicon Valley's most powerful CEO was just a man reaching across. 15 years of complicated history. Why did you disappear? He asked the question he'd been holding since she walked into his boardroom. You know why, Alex? Her voice carried both warmth and warning. What we discovered was dangerous. The algorithm could have been weaponized. I built safeguards, he argued, created Horizon to protect it, and became a billionaire in the process. She observed without judgment. The tension between them was palpable, not just attraction, but the weight of a shared secret that had shaped both their lives. A breakthrough that had launched his empire while sending her into self-imposed exile. They'll find out eventually, she whispered, about us. About Quantum Zero. Alexander's expression darkened. No one can know what Quantum Zero can really do. Not even my board. The breakthrough came on a foggy Tuesday morning. Cassidy's quantum processor, affectionately named Barefoot by the engineers who had become her devoted followers, successfully maintained quantum coherence for 37 minutes, shattering the previous world record of 9 seconds. Horizon Technologies was poised to revolutionize computing forever. News outlets clamored for interviews with the mysterious Barefoot genius. Venture capitalists who had been shorting Horizon stock scrambled to reverse position. The board scheduled an emergency meeting to discuss the company's suddenly brilliant future. Only Miranda Chun noticed something was wrong when she brought Cassidy's morning coffee. The lab was immaculate too immaculate. The equations on the whiteboard had been meticulously photographed and erased. Cassidy stood by the window, staring out at the Silicon Valley landscape. You're leaving, Miranda realized aloud. Cassidy turned, her expression solemn. History repeats itself. Watch Alexander carefully today. Before Miranda could question her further, Ethan Blackwood burst into the lab, flanked by security guards and 2 board members. We have proof, he announced triumphantly. Your precious Barefoot genius is a fraud. He slapped a file onto the lab table. Inside were surveillance photos of Cassidy entering Alexander's beach house, documents from 15 years ago, and what appeared to be old love letters. She and Reeves were lovers, Ethan declared. She's not a genius. She's his ex-girlfriend, manipulating her way into our company. Cassidy remained calm, even as security guards moved to escort her from the building. Ask him about Quantum Zero, she said to Miranda as they led her away. Ask why he really hired me. In the boardroom, chaos erupted when Alexander appeared. On screen, the evidence of his personal connection to Cassidy was damning enough. But the board was more concerned about potential securities fraud hiring an unqualified person based on a past relationship. She's the most qualified person on the planet, Alexander countered icily. Then why is there no record of her work? A board member demanded. No publications, no patents. Alexander's jaw tightened. Because we classified everything under Quantum Zero. The room fell silent. Quantum Zero was Horizon's most secretive project, the foundation of their initial funding, rumored to be connected to government contracts worth billions. Cassidy Evans didn't just contribute to Quantum Zero, Alexander continued. She created it. We created it together. And then she disappeared, because she understood the implications before I did. His confession stunned the board. The quantum computing breakthrough that had launched Horizon Technologies had been co-developed by the Barefoot woman they just escorted from the building. As realization dawned on their faces, Alexander delivered his final blow. If she leaves, I leave, and Quantum Zero leaves with us. Across town, Cassidy stood on the beach, waves lapping at her bare feet. Her phone buzzed with a message from Miranda. What is Quantum Zero really capable of? She typed a response, then deleted it. Some secrets were too dangerous, even for friends. The tide pulled back, leaving her footprints in the wet sand soon to be washed away, just as she had disappeared before. The resignation of Alexander Reeves sent Horizon's stock plummeting 40% in a single day. Financial analysts called it the Barefoot crash. Silicon Valley executives, who had mocked Cassidy now, desperately tried to locate her, offering 8-figure salaries and equity packages. She had vanished again, leaving only questions in her wake. Miranda Chun found herself unexpectedly promoted to interim CEO during the crisis. Sorting through Alexander's office, she discovered a hidden safe behind his bookshelf. Inside was a single thumb drive labeled Quantum Zero True Purpose. That night, alone in her apartment, Miranda connected the drive to an air-gapped computer. What she found left her sleepless and shaken. Quantum Zero wasn't just a computing breakthrough. It was a predictive algorithm capable of modeling human consciousness, effectively reading and potentially controlling thoughts through quantum field manipulation. In the wrong hands, it could be the ultimate surveillance tool. In the right hands, it might cure neurological diseases or expand human consciousness. The ethical implications were staggering. The next morning, Ethan Blackwood was found unconscious in his home, all digital devices missing. When he awoke in the hospital, he claimed someone had injected him with something. The last thing he remembered was opening his laptop to access files about Cassidy and Alexander. Government agencies descended on Horizon Technologies like locusts. The NSA, CIA, and Department of Defense all claimed jurisdiction over Quantum Zero. Miranda found herself in 12-hour depositions, trying to protect the company while understanding its true legacy. On the 5th day of government occupation, Miranda received a text from an unknown number. Mendocino Lighthouse, midnight, come alone. The drive up the California coast gave her time to consider the madness her life had become. 2 weeks ago, she'd been a corporate HR executive. Now she was interim CEO of a company that might possess the most dangerous technology in human history. Lighthouse stood sentinel over the churning Pacific. As Miranda approached, she saw 2 figures silhouetted against the moonlight, one male, one female, standing close but not touching, like planets locked in mutual orbit. "Thank you for coming," Alexander said as she approached. Cassidy stood barefoot on the cool grass. "You found the drive," Miranda nodded. "Why show me? Why trust me?" "Because you saw me as a person, not a curiosity or a threat," Cassidy answered. "And because we need your help." Alexander stepped forward. Quantum Zero was never meant to be a corporate asset or a government weapon. Cassidy and I developed it to heal minds, not control them. "The quantum field connects all consciousness," Cassidy explained. "We stumbled upon it accidentally, trying to solve a computing problem. When Cassidy realized what we'd found, she warned me about weaponization," Alexander continued. "I didn't listen. I was young, ambitious. I took our discovery to investors, promising applications I knew were dangerous. So I disappeared," Cassidy finished, "taking key components of the algorithm with me." Miranda looked between them, understanding blooming. "You hired her back to destroy it." They nodded in unison. These 2 brilliant minds whose relationship had been fractured by power and principle, now reunited by the need to protect humanity from their own creation. Dawn broke over Silicon Valley as three black SUVs pulled up to Horizon Technologies. NSA Director Wilson strode into the lobby, flanked by agents and quantum computing specialists. Their mission: seize all quantum zero technology under the National Security Act. They found the quantum lab empty, the revolutionary processor missing. Security footage showed nothing. The cameras had experienced a technical glitch for 6 critical hours overnight. Meanwhile, on a private yacht sailing toward international waters, Alexander Reeves, Cassidy Evans, and Miranda Chun gathered around the quantum processor. After 15 years of separation, attraction, and conflicted loyalties, Alexander and Cassidy worked in perfect synchrony, encoding the final algorithm. "Are you sure this will work?" Miranda asked. "It will erase all functional knowledge of quantum. Zero from every database, cloud storage, and backup system globally," Cassidy explained. "The technology will still exist theoretically, but no one will be able to rebuild it for decades, hopefully long enough for humanity to develop the ethical framework to handle it." Alexander looked at Cassidy, his expression softening. "I should have trusted you 15 years ago. Everything you predicted came true, and I should have stayed to fight beside you," she replied. Running solved nothing. Their hands touched on the keyboard, the culmination of a relationship defined by brilliant collaboration, painful separation, and, now, redemption. "Quantum entanglement works on particles and people," Cassidy murmured. "Some connections can't be broken across time or space." As the final algorithm executed, a peculiar wave rippled through global networks. At Horizon headquarters, the NSA's quantum experts suddenly looked confused, their specialized knowledge of quantum zero becoming fragmented and incomprehensible. 1 week later, Miranda Chun stood before Horizon's board, presenting a bold new direction focusing on medical applications of quantum computing. With Alexander officially retired and Cassidy hired as chief science officer, the company had survived its greatest crisis. The media had created a romantic narrative around the Barefoot genius and the billionaire love story of two brilliant minds who found each other, lost each other, and reunited to save their legacy. It wasn't entirely wrong, but it missed the deeper truth. In Alexander's cliffside mansion, now serving as Quantum Zero's secure research facility, Cassidy walked barefoot through the garden. Alexander joined her, no longer the corporate titan, but a scientist reclaiming his original purpose. "Do you think we did the right thing?" he asked. "We gave humanity time," she replied. "The knowledge will re-emerge eventually, but maybe by then we'll be wise enough to use it well." He took her hand, 15 years of separation dissolving in the simple human connection that had always been the counterbalance to their intellectual bond. Behind them, Miranda watched the two geniuses who had shocked Silicon Valley, not just with their technology or their unconventional relationship, but with their ultimate choice to protect humanity from their own creation.